In this video we'll be looking at shoelace pose and its many variations. So shoelace pose offers a deep stretch to the area of the outer hips, which corresponds with the gallbladder meridian in Chinese medicine. It can be quite a challenging pose to get right, but there is a variation for everyone if you just play about with the pose and be patient with it until you find what works for you. So I'm going to try and show you all the different variations. So I know which ones suit my body better, and although I can demonstrate all of the poses, they're not necessarily comfortable in my body. So when I do my own practice, there's one or two that I tend to go for more often. But for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to show you. So the first thing to notice is generally we try to come forward in shoelace pose, which offers this deeper stretch into the outer hips and can start to target a little bit into the lower back area as well. So if you find it hard getting that anterior pelvic tilt without rounding through the lower back, then just prop yourself onto the edge of a prop, and that's going to help you come forward with a longer spine. So the first variation of the pose is we're from a cross-legged position. We're taking one leg over the other, sitting cross-legged, and you draw your feet in towards your hips, your heels in towards your hips, and you would come forward here. And maybe, as always with these forward folds, you can take a prop to your elbows to help support your head, especially if you have tension in your neck and you want to soften, get rid of that and just keep the energy centered in the lower body. You can even bring some kind of prop to rest your head on. Yeah. Or, of course, you can just allow yourself to flop forward if your neck's perfectly comfortable here. Okay, so the next variation of the pose is bringing your legs slightly apart. Okay, so your feet are working out to either side of the room. Now for me, when I do this variation of the pose, I really feel that my knees are just too high in comparison to my hips here. So I would take a prop underneath to help with that anterior pelvic tilt, and I've got quite a big gap going on underneath my legs here, so I would like to prop in order to make that more sustainable, and it might be nicer with something soft there. I'm already feeling that digging in a little bit, and again I can kind of come forward. And for me, the version before with the heels tucked in by my hips, I haven't got very much adduction. I've not got great adduction. It's okay, it's kind of average. So I feel just a bit stuck in my inner hip joint. I feel there's some pinching going on with the tissues. Just doesn't feel that great. Likewise, my internal rotation isn't that good. So if I start to come out here, I'm sort of giving a little bit more space to come forward. Now, for those of you who have more externally rotated hips, like myself and many women tend to have more externally rotated hips than guys. Makes sense with the potential for childbirth. So square pose, as it's known, is still going to offer that same target area stretch, so that stretch in deep into the buttocks and the outer hip there. And again, when I come forward, yeah, that's when I begin to feel it. And for me, I also get a nicer lower back release in this pose. Okay, so we can begin to come here. But again, stacking ankle on top of knee and knee on top of ankle. For people with knee problems, this is just a no-go area. So what we can then do is we can begin to untie the shoelace. So by bringing one leg out in front, now you're not really going to feel anything here, but yeah, there we go. When you come forward, normally it's centered more in one buttock than the other. So I can feel it in both buttocks and outer hips, but for me it's a little bit more intense in this front leg. However, that might not be your experience. So again, you can begin to come forward here with a sort of untied shoelace, propping however feels right for you. And in shoelace, you can also bring in some arm variations here. So sometimes it's nice to kind of get a little bit of a stretch right the way into sort of our lower back and then across our shoulder blades by bringing your hands to either shoulder, or you can even go for some eagle arms if that feels good for you. So this would be combining some upper body meridian work with the lower body. And of course you can take that leg all the way out. You can prop underneath your ankle, you can prop underneath your knee, and the knee will be perfectly safe here of that extended leg. You may want some kind of prop as well underneath that other knee. And yep, I'm still here accessing this beautiful stretch deep into the buttocks and outer hip there. So accessing the hip rotator muscles in my buttocks, the piriformis included. And here we can let ourselves be. And often I will choose something along this lines over the sort of more intricate version. I really, this is where I feel I can most surrender forward into stretching this target area. So as always with yin yoga, it's not an aesthetic practice at all. Let go of the idea of what you look like and just think, where am I trying to target into? You may also access a bit of stretch into the inner thigh as well, which is the liver meridian, which is the corresponding meridian, the paired meridian of the wood elements, the liver and the gallbladder. Okay, so shoelace pose, lots to be explored there. If you work from a place of consciousness and gentleness, then I guarantee you'll find a place that works for you sooner or later. Okay, thank you and namaste. Bye-bye.